Hi there, Coaches here. A few months ago I made a video called Young Justice Please Come Back, where I explained to everyone that, hey, Young Justice is the best cartoon ever. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in that video, and I actually waited a while to do this one, is that what really made Young Justice a great cartoon, and with any hero, is their villain. Now, the villain in Young Justice is a group of people called the Light. There's other villains as well, but they all tend to do this same thing, which I'm going to explain in a second. The Light is like a parallel to the Illuminati. Now, my friend is a huge Illuminati conspiracy theorist and whatever, and I'm knowledgeable of it, but when you show me all the articles, which I'm going to leave a number of them down below in the description, you can tell that the writers of Young Justice were aware of what they were doing when they were making this cartoon. I'm talking everything. I'm talking about from using GMOs to make people either stupider or more susceptible to the light and the leech's overall goals. I'm talking about from making deals with aliens for technology, using all different kinds of mind control and all different kinds of magic to control the masses. And that was the thing about the Light. They weren't really about. The Lights consisted of a number of different superhero villains that formed together to, help humans evolve to that next level. And they see superheroes as the blockade between humans and what will eventually be metahumans in the future. The Light never really was concerned with having a lot of money or owning a piece of land or having a magic item. They wanted people to live their lives as happy as they can fucking be and control them subconsciously, so there'd be no resistance to whatever plans that they had, for themselves or for a given country or humanity as a whole. Much like what people believe the Illuminati and the Freemasons do behind the scenes of, corporate America and the banks like that. So I'm going to break this stuff down as concise as I can because it's so massive and it's so big, and it evolves just like Young Justice, the cartoon series, did. So let's get into it. Now with this analysis, I'm not going to go linear because going linear, I'd have to jump start from here and there. I'm actually going to go and talk about probably the easiest part first, and that's transhumanism. Now transhumanism, what a lot of people, if you don't already know what it is putting technology inside of your body, whether you have like a robotic eye, which has already been done, or prosthetics to enhance your strength or make yourself more durable. And that has to come down pretty much to the character of Blue Beetle. Now Blue Beetle is not a new character to the DC universe at all. He's an established character from way back with the original Ted Cord, but this version of Blue Beetle, it has much more of a transhumanistic aspect about him. And we're going to talk about him and how he became Blue Beetle and what happened to him later on in the series. And we're going to start off with that. Transhumanism is a term that applies to humans or other biological life that involves putting technology on or replacing biological parts in favor for robotic parts. The transhumanistic term can apply from anything by having an external robotic suit, something like Iron Man, to having a cybernetic eye. The two characters that are really affected by transhumanism is the original Red Arrow, Speedy, and Blue Beetle. Speedy, years before the series began in its own continuity, was captured by the Light and was frozen cryogenically with having his arm chopped off. When he wakes up from his suspended animation, he wants revenge on Lex Luthor and the Light. And when he confronts Lex Luthor actually offers him a robotic arm that is much better than his normal biological arm. And Speedy accepts and uses it in battle. Blue Beetle does not have the free will to choose whether or not his transhumanistic form of the sacred beetle scarab takes over his body or not. The big problem with transhumanism is that, yes, it does hold a lot of advanced technologies, and especially within the Young Justice universe, but the problem is that whoever controls the technology can't control the host of that technology. The beetle scarab, controlled by the Reach, attaches itself to the spinal cord of whatever vessel it needs as a biological host. Over time, the beetle scarab attach itself too deeply in the neurological system, the biological system of the host, and it will make the host aware of what its body is doing, but has no control over as to when the beetle powers down or what actions is performed as the beetle. It can even talk for the host. All the transhumanistic themes of Young Justice can be seen in Season 2, where Blue Beetle becomes much more of a focus of the characters that are in the show. Okay, now for those who are really like kind of in this conspiracy stuff, they know that there's like, this form of like crude magic that goes on with the Illuminati, which is paralleled by, Young Justice's group, the Light. And that would be magic. Now, I was a fan of the Justice Society America comic books, and I know of Dr. Fate. Now, Dr. Fate is actually not like a person. He's a magical helmet. When you put him on, his body takes over you. And they fight other mystical characters and villains and stuff like that within the Young Justice cartoon. And there's always seems to be a sacrifice. Let's talk about that real briefly, okay? Magic in Young Justice is actually a lot of isolated incidents. There are certain episodes that are dedicated only to magic and magic users. Clarion, the physical embodiment of chaos, is a member of the Light. And he pretty much does a satanic ritual in episode 19 of season 1, where he pretty much takes all the adults off of the earth as we perceive them, and then takes all the children off the earth as adults perceive them. So it's kind of strange what the actual goal was, but it seemed to be very effective into distracting the Justice League and the other heroes as to what to do and how to control what's going on. Even the good guys who use magic, Santana and his daughter Zantara, have to pay a price for using the magic at one point in Young Justice, where Santana, the father, has to give up his own free will to become a vessel for Dr. Fate, the Lord of Order, and the opposite of Clarion, the Lord of Chaos. Now, from my understanding on how the conspiracy theorists believe that magic works, it's nothing like Harry Potter or something that's very instantaneous, like you have a magic wand and then you can strike a lightning bolt at someone. It's more the kin of maybe, I don't know if you ever read the book Conan, where you have to get like a number of people gathered around. They all have to pray and chant a certain word, and then like rain will come if they all want it to rain, or the rain will stop if they all wanted the rain to stop. And of course, Young Justice being a cartoon, there's no way they can actually have that be effective or entertaining. So they decided to go the more quicker route with their magic. But there's a couple of elements, like I said before, the whole satanic ritual of episode 17 of season 1. One of the most barbaric and common uses of offerings to the sun, or the sun god, is taking out someone's heart as a human sacrifice. This is actually done in episode 18 of season 1. Two already dead beings, so they're pretty much ghosts who only make a one-time appearance in Young Justice, end up having a fight towards the end where the good ghost, if you want to call her that, pulls out the heart of the bad ghost. For those who don't know, the Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Aztecs all used to perform this act of human sacrifices because they did not know whether or not the sun will rise again the very next day or not. The King James Bible depicts the morning star as the sun. The sun is Lucifer. Now see, here's the big one. Mind control. Now, mind control, from both what conspiracy theorists believe and with the Young Justice and how that's written, is there's like two forms. There's the crude mind control when it's done with torture, or maybe like in a comic book fiction writing, it's done with like some sort of like magical spell, or a computer chip that goes in you and controls your brain. And then there's like convert mind control, where you believe that you're acting on your own free will, but with certain key words and key phrases will force you to act in a certain way. Now, in conspiracy theory slams, they call this MK Ultra slaves, where, this is usually done for what they consider to be like super soldiers, like the Green Berets or something like that, where, they're trained very hard and they're programmed to respond to a few different frequencies of someone's voice, or like some sort of like word combination where they just act. They lose all control of their own will, and they just act accordingly to what they have to do. This is actually a very big thing when it comes to like sex slavery and like sex kittens and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff about Lady Gaga and Rihanna about it. Of course, Young Justice being a kid's cartoon, there's no sort of like sex talk going on, at least in that respect. So let's talk about the more cruder versions of mind control. The use of mind control in Young Justice is actually rather extensive. In the first 2 episodes, it's revealed that a whole society of mutants lives below a scientific lab called Star Labs. Now, these mutants range in different powers, shapes, and sizes, but there's a number of them, if they're in contact with the host, actually can control the mind of whoever they're in physical contact with. When the original Young Justice teams discovered this underground community, they tried to expose it, and they find out that Star Labs later on is owned by Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor is a member of the Light. Now, without getting into all the different details of the show, because I want you to watch it for yourself, because even without this knowledge, it's very entertaining. But there's one character I have to say, his name's Speedy, which pretty much the worst stuff happens to him. He gets beat up by the Light. They cut his arm off. They use his arm to create clones, and when he wakes up out of this like suspended animation ice coma or whatever, many years, like 8 years have passed, and he goes back to get revenge, and he gets offered a robotic arm, more transhumanism, by the people who caused this problem. And this is another aspect of the Hegelian dialect. So now we're getting to more of a grander thing that the Light does, and when people believe that the Illuminati does. The Hegelian dialect, if you don't know what it is, it breaks down like this. The people who cause a problem are the ones you run to find the solution. And so let's say the government wants everyone to lose their guns. They would put in place a situation where people get shot up, and then everyone thinks like, oh my God, guns are so terrible, they're so bad. And then the government will come like, hey, how about we get rid of guns? So it'd be the same people causing problems, or the same people solving the problems and making situations where you are acting under your own free will, but in the confines of how they want you to act. So it's like bottled free will in a lot of ways. And this is also parallel to drug usage and in low economic areas and whatnot. But let's get this Hegelian dialect on a much more grander scale on how the Illuminati and the Light move things around for the humans who they want to control ultimately. The Hegelian dialect. The Hegelian dialect is a situation where the government or a group of people want to see a change in laws that benefit them, and they create a problem, and then they have a solution ready when the masses are hysteric that solves a problem, but it solves a problem in such a way where the group or the government actually gains more power or obtains something they really want. This is actually seen a lot with a lot of 9/11 conspiracy theorists, where they believe that the U.S. government wanted to change things about the U.S. Constitution, but the only way to do so was to have a tragic event and then very quickly put out the Patriot Act. Young Justice has this kind of Hegelian dialect in 2 episodes. Episode 10 of season 1, entitled Targets, where they had these parallels of North and South Korea called North and South Malaysia, who had long-term conflicts with one another. Lex Luthor forces a situation where both were attacked and then are saved by LexCorp technology by way of a cyborg or a transhuman. Then they both agree to allow LexCorp to have a measure of control over both their countries by funding and paying him money to build up their military defense. And now North and South Malaysia are members of the Light, which is in parallel to the Illuminati. And episode 21, entitled Image, Queen Bee, a member of the Light who has the ability to mind control, takes over a fake country called Karak, which in their continuity, her country, Balalia, and Karak has many years of conflicts, and now she's becoming a leader of Karak, and as attempts to prove to the people this will end all the years of war and bloodshed. But in reality, all she has done is try to get them to be part of the Light. However, the Young Justice team ends up folding those plans pretty well, and thus they're saved from the Light's influence.